give you some examples on this one here. So you might find that based on your personality, some of these work like better for you than others. For me, I'm kind of relaxed in the field. Like I try to be enthusiastic, but I'm kind of like pretty laid back as well. So I don't feel like pressuring people. Where some people are a bit more intense with their clothes. I'm a bit more relaxed. So first one of the 5 ways is assumptive.
I would, yeah, 100%. So he said like, oh, he did it for
This one here, it's more like acting like they're going to do it anyway. So you don't really give them a chance to back out. So I'm sure you'd be keen to help out that one, yeah? A bit more like direct, cool. The second one is a bit more indifferent, which is this is my favourite one. So I try and come across with a tone that's like, not like I don't care, but like I'm pretty relaxed about whether they're going to do it or not. You know, so I'm like, hey man, so this is what most people do, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. Like, what do you reckon? Is that something that you want to jump on that, or, you know? I always use words like it's up to you, stuff like that to try and like make the person feel kind of comfortable, kind of relaxed, not like I'm not pressuring them.
More secure, that's you.
Yeah, and if you're good with indifference, what it will actually affect is, you know how we have this thing called quality and rejects and all that kind of stuff. It will help with your consolidation because the customer will walk away feeling like, oh man, that dude Andre was like super chill about, like that's kind of cool. He was kind of a cool dude. He wasn't like pressuring me, you know what I mean? And so then, what's the chances of them changing their mind or cancelling after? It's going to be lower than someone who was maybe like pushed a little bit. So that's a good way to do it. So you're kind of acting a bit more relaxed and not really phased with the decision. That's my favourite one. Just put a little asterisk next to that. 3, direct. Cool. So what does direct mean?
Self-explanatory. Is it just
and then the
like,
presentation,
Straight to the point, yeah.
straight shooter?
Have you ever, so you might have found this, but I used to work in the field, sometimes be training a newer person, let's say I was working with Santos in his first few days, and we're trying to like have this nice smooth pitch, and I'm like, so at the end when you're closing, you got to be like, hey, so most people just chuck in like the price of a coffee, you probably drink the occasional coffee, $6-7, all that stuff, but then in the end he forgets all that shit, and he goes, hey, so we're just signing people up, it's $30 a month, are you keen? And sometimes people will go, oh yeah? I'm like, what the fuck? He didn't do the whole smooth pitch I taught him, but he still did the sale, and he was like, he like broke the rule, man. He kind of like, he could have freaked the person out. Sometimes direct works, you know? Especially if you're talking to someone who's like, responds to something in a direct way. Like direct works for what type of demographic do you reckon? Do you reckon,
like more conservative areas, like I guess like the old, I guess like the more wider community.
think about people that don't want to be bullshitted, yeah? So direct works, I use a combination of these two for old people. Like it's like an old man, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's about a coffee a week, whatever, because he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, hey man, just so you know, it's 25 or $30 a month. It's a bit more straight up.
Yeah.
Everyone's donating once a month for as long as they can, so it's a bit of a commitment. But the cool thing is we get enough people like yourself helping out. We can make like drinking, we can put you down for that, and then you might be like, yeah, I'll do that. But if it's say $5 a week or coffee or like, it's not really fair on an old person. It's not direct enough, right?
Yeah.
Same with like a business person or a tradie. Like sometimes for a tradie, I'm like, man, it's just $5 a week. So that's what I'm trying to get my clothes. A dude comes up, he's 40, he's in construction. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like half foundation? Yeah, I need that, man. My heart's fucked. I drink 30 beers a week. Like, I drink 30 beers a night when I was in uni. And they were like, whatever. Like, cool, so everyone's just chucking in $5 a week. The cool thing is we get 10,000 Kiwis doing that. We can help make a difference. Sound good? Done. Like, no messing around, direct, right? So it just depends on the person. Yeah? I probably wouldn't use direct on like, maybe someone who's a bit more banter, younger, or mum, or, you know what I mean?
Old ladies.
Yeah, exactly. So think about the kind of person you're talking to and respond in the same way that might work for them, right? This one here is a really good one for your clothes, and this one here will change your pledge amounts quite a lot. Alternate close or alternative? Cool. So alternate close is just basically giving 2 options or 3 options. So there's been studies done on this all around the world for different, like for big companies. And when people have too many options, it's not a good thing. It's like when you go to a Chinese restaurant, the menu's like 8 pages long. You're like, what do I order? Sometimes it's better just to have 3 items. Choose one of the 3. You'll be happier with the choice. You won't get as FOMO about all the shit you didn't get to choose. So when you're in your clothes, just the reason we should use the pitch card. Let's see if we got a pitch card around here. Pitch card anywhere over here? Got this one. Yeah, this is the pitch card for brain injured children. Okay, this is not even what we do. This is in sports. But I used to sell sports when I started. There's a lot of options here. So when the guys are looking at all these options, they're selling $20 tickets. So one person can buy a $20 ticket one time. But that's a shit sale. That's the worst. That's the lowest, right? So we're trying to get people to think about these ones and hopefully help out with one of these ones. So that's like $20 tickets to be 100 or 10 to do 200 or just every now and then, once a week, we might do a 500 or 1,000 if we're good, if we're pitching it, if we're lucky. But some of the newer guys are too afraid to talk about the big ones because they think they'll scare people off. So what you should do is break it down and you give alternate options, right? So and we can use this for our pitch card too. But I'd be like, so the goal for us is to raise a couple of $1,000s every day. So we're trying to raise a lot of money. Cool. These are some of the costs involved for the patients of what they have to go through. So $2,000 is what gets someone on to make this up. So it's what gets someone flights, okay? For therapy cancer, it's pretty important to get people flights to go over there. It covers the cost to go and have those therapy sessions. They can do that. $10,000 would be like 6 months paid training for individual home programs. So it's pretty cool. Saves them actually going to do therapy somewhere else. Get those programs trained themselves as a parent. A lot of money. So what we're trying to do is cover costs towards those things. So some people that help us out will help in one of the bigger ways and do one of these over here. But realistically, most people do one of these ones here. But we have to ask everyone anyway, because you never know. Do you reckon you're in the position? Do you reckon you can do one of these big ones over here, man? And usually they say no, okay? Because not everyone's going to just give $1,000 on the spot like that. But why do you reckon I'm asking about these ones?
Just go refresh yourself. Because you're trying to keep them focused and go ahead rather than
yeah, and then when they get to this side, what do these look like compared to these?
That one was more appealing.
They look cheaper. So after I've asked you for 1,500, $2,000, $10,000, you're like, oh, but I can't do that, but I'll give you 100,
Yeah, so that's what we do.
Yeah, well, it's more like profiling their options and then closing them on a couple, right? So if you say no to these, I'm expecting you to say no to these anyway, but every now and then someone might say yeah. You say no, sweet. So do you reckon you can have one of these? You say no? No. Fair enough, man. Most people can't, but we have to ask anyway, right? Like, you never know. Most people today have helped out with one of these top 2 ones here. Which one do you reckon works best for you?
Now, the first thing you want to do.
So I'm not even talking about these 2. I say which one, give them 2 options. That's it. I'm not like choose one of them. Choose one of those. And then if you've got a smile on your face, they might be like, oh, come on, man.
It's all about just
no worries.
really
It's not offended. I'm just like, you've got to be cheeky. Which one of these 2? But I'm still not even talking about 20.
Like the pitch card when you say this most people are doing $25.
Exactly.
But you can also go a little higher. You don't mean
So
to
same
$25.
thing, like I use
Exactly. So if we're looking at this,
body limit in this.
what you guys want to try and get good at, because across the board in charities, it's not just you guys, it's every company in the building that works in charities. Pledge amount's a little bit low. Yours are pretty good actually, Matthew. Most of the team, they're kind of averaging slightly lower than they should be. Okay. So we've got all these options here.
How much am I averaging so far?
I'll have to find out for you, but you're pretty close to 30, bro. Which means you're doing a good amount of 35s plus and not too many of these.
Yep.
These ones are your worst nightmare, man. So these are the 3 that are on the pitch card, right? And when you close people, do you use the iPad or the pitch card? Like when you're talking about with their mouse, that's why your pledge amount's higher. Most people fall in the trap of using the iPad. So they get to the iPad, the part where the person's going to pay, and then they forget that it's where they're going to choose their amount officially, and they freak out. Yeah.
What I've noticed is what works is like if you see like someone wearing a suit or whatever, well, I would say rather than you guys always you say most people are doing $45 around $60 something today.
Yeah.
And then go to 45.
And okay, there's a few things going on there. If you're pitching someone on 45, if they say no, what will they probably do? Okay. If you're pitching someone on the 35, if they say no, what will they probably do?
Around $1 a day.
If you're pitching someone on the 30, if they say no, what will they probably do? So if you want to get your average pledge amount to one of these 2, you're going to be pitching on what?
45.
Yeah, so that's the one you got to think about as well. What I'll do is I'm a bit more indifferent, but I'll still use these three. So I won't even, obviously we don't have these on the pitch amounts, but I sometimes like people to know that there's a 30. So I'll be like, hey, there's the amounts on here. We've also got a 30, which is a little bit lower. It's like $1 a day. It also a number. But most people pick one of these three. So it's like $6 or $7 a week. The more you do, obviously, the more people we can help. The reason sometimes people do a bigger one, so I want to profile these because I want the person to understand and put themselves in a category that makes sense. So I don't want them to feel like they're getting pressured to do a 60. So I'll say the reason sometimes people do a 60 is like it might be a business owner, or maybe they're just feeling generous and want to help out in a bigger way. The reason people do 45 sometimes is if they want to help out a bit more themselves personally, or they've got a couple, like there's two of them, they both want to chip in. There's a couple help out some more, and then most people do 35. We've also got one that's 30, nice round $1 a day. But which one do you reckon works best for you? And then they kind of think like, oh, am I someone who wants to help in a bigger way, or do I have a business? They might think I'll do that one. That's really good. Do you know what I mean? And they're thinking about which category do I fall into. They feel like they're making the decision, but really, who's making the decision? You're kind of leading them to make the choice, right? Based on where they're at. Cool. And this is just to help the charity get more money. This is why they pay us to do it. Because otherwise, we'd be like, choose any amount you want. They'll be like, I'll do $3 a month. So we're like, these are the most common amounts. So that's what you got to think about. So you want to try and avoid these two as much as you can. And I don't mind tacking this one on by mentioning it like it's an off the menu item. Yeah. So we've got a special menu. So these are the options most people do: business owners, celebrities, whatever, couples, and people feeling generous by themselves, whatever. But we've also got one that's $1 a day, $30 a month. But it really depends on you. Matthew, what do you think is the best one for you today?
I'll say it's $1.
Do the 30? Yeah, cool, appreciate that. And then it just gives me that like little flexibility, so I don't have to drop to the too far. Now the issue we get sometimes is people give an objection, and people feel like they have to go lower. Okay, so if you get an objection like other charities, what do we sometimes do? Have you heard anything that guys say in the field like multi-donor? Have you heard this thing before?
Yeah.
What do people do?
Like they usually start pitching lower.
Yeah, why?
Just because they feel like